there's so much diversity in just one culture, and I think that's a good thing. Growing up in America, I didn't even know I was Asian until I think middle school, when someone was like, "Oh, you're Indian, right?" And I was like, And I guess it was at that point where I was like, "Oh, I am different." Not in a bad way, but just like in a factual way, that I am a different person from some of these people. My neighborhood is Italian, Irish, Russian, and then we have like this one Indian neighbor, so I guess it's diverse. I never really saw people that looked like me.
It's always funny, I go places with my mom and then they're like, "That's your daughter?" Because I'm half black. My mom's from Cambodia.
There is a lot of Caucasians, a lot of like the wealthy people, but I myself was like the middle class area.
I spent maybe like 3 or 4 years of my life in Long Island. There weren't that many like Filipinos there.
I was with a lot of like people who were Hispanic, and they thought I was Hispanic as well. They thought I was Dominican.
In my school there was one white guy, and it was weird because they were always saying like, "Oh, like they're the majority," things like that, and I was like, I didn't really realize what that meant. I went to University of Massachusetts Amherst, and when I was there, it was kind of a culture shock. I'm like, why are there so many of them? And they're like, "Oh no, it's very diverse here," and I'm like, I disagree.
When I went to preschool, mainly white Hispanic people, I didn't really get along with them. They would treat me differently.
I only spoke Chinese, like Mandarin, so I didn't really have that many friends because nobody really wanted to talk to me. Like, they thought I was weird.
I had trouble like changing from Japanese to English and English to Japanese, making it hard for me to make friends and communicate with others.
People separate the word like Asian from people like who don't look like the typical East Asian.
I'm just like, I'm Blasian, and then they're like, automatically that's Chinese. There is such a spectrum of people. Like, India is definitely a part of Asia as well. A lot of people don't know that.
When I say I'm Asian, they don't believe me either, saying that India is not in Asia, and I'm Indian, obviously. So they'll say I'm not Asian, and until I show them a map and show them where Bangladesh is, they will not believe me. I'm not Arab, and I'm not Middle Eastern, okay? I'm Southeast Asian, okay? Which is still Asian.
We're not Hispanic.
We're not fake Asian.
We're not fake Asian.
Many people think that like all Asians look the same.
We don't all look the same.
A lot of people think that like every Asian person is the same. I would always get confused with this other Chinese girl in my elementary school class, just because we were both Chinese, like we didn't even look anything alike.
I remember in middle school, like, I was called a sand coon.
I remember this one time I was in a computer office or whatever, and I was just like playing cool math games and stuff, and there was this one kid who was in front of me, and he just came up to, he just like looked at me like on the opposite side of the computer lab, and he was be like, "Ching chong, ching chong."
There was a girl, and we were having a meeting, and she said something along the lines of like, "Oh, I'm not very experimental with my food. I don't love Asian food because I don't eat cattails." And everyone around them was laughing, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I have 4 cats, and never once did I think about eating any of their extremities. Even when they say like, "Oh, like you're Asian, like I love Panda Express," I'm like, I'm classy. I don't eat Panda Express. I've never even set foot in a Panda Express.
It's expected that I have watched anime. They think I know like this particular character or like this soundtrack, but then I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Many of my friends think Japanese is just anime, samurai, manga. It's not just that, there's also more cultures.
I've heard people say that they can't tell the difference between like Japanese, Korean, and Chinese culture. That kind of makes me sad because like each culture has their own diversity and like history.
We still don't get a lot of coverage in TV and media, and we still have a lot of stereotypes that are being perpetuated still.
I would see Asians represented in the media, but like in the wrong ways. So they would be like the comedic relief or like a side character. I haven't really seen that many like Asians represented in the media like as a main character or like just to learn more about their culture.
We're not all like either looks or like brains. It's like we're human beings, you know. Asians these days are accepting the fact that all they think of is our brains, and no one is willing to speak up about that.
I feel like people in the Asian community need to really be aware of what goes on around them, and that racism is very prevalent.
I feel like Asians as a race, they tend to try to divide each other.
Since Asians don't really like to talk things out, we tend to get very like angry, or like we like are very rude to like our own people.
We've forced a lot of pressures on our own family.
It's always been hard to express myself or be myself around my Asian part of the family. I feel like Asian women are very harsh on their daughters. Asian women, you know, there's always a stereotype that they have to be, you know, slim, small.
My grandma, she's always said, you know, no one's gonna listen to you because you're, like, nobody's gonna listen to you about losing weight because, like, hello, look at you, you know what I mean? I get that I'm not, like, thin, I'm not, like, I got pimples going on, but, like, the moment I open my mouth, I'm smart as hell.
We're all supposed to be a community, so it's weird that we're all trying to hate each other.
Like, we're human, we're growing up, and like we get influence from what's around us.
They're all different, we all have a different meaning, and they all have different beliefs and different views on everything else.
If we just tried to listen to one another a little bit more often, it would definitely help us out a lot more.
Be more accepting. Be a little bit more open and communicative when it comes to like solving problems.
Like us as a generation, we have to teach our kids like how to love others.
I think we can all love each other.
I find that a lot of people growing up are almost ashamed to be Asian.
Growing up, I did not want to be Chinese Indonesian.
I have friends here that, you know, they think it's annoying, like they think their family's annoying, they don't like speaking this language, they think their culture's ugly. You shouldn't be ashamed of it because that's what a society tells you to do. Do you, but you know, I think it's important to embrace it.
It is okay to be your certain race. Be yourself and don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
People are gonna think what they wanna think, and like especially now that I've grown up, it's more so like at some point you're gonna be a villain in someone else's story, you know, so you just kind of do, you gotta do your own thing.
I really do cherish the culture, and I 100% feel Cambodian. Like there's not a day where I don't feel that in my bloodstream.
Being an Asian American is a really cool thing if we let it be.